Awesome. And we are back. Welcome to CN7 Sports Media. I am your host and CEO of CN7 Sports Media. And before we get started, and before I introduce everybody, you might be asking, where have we been? What's going on? What's this new format? Why are they on a call, not in the studio? Reason being so is just last episode after we decided to try to keep up with the overall production quality, and I was the only one that was editing, and then we tried to find an editor. Long story short, couldn't find one, and then it was taking way too long to upload an episode, so we kind of put it on the back burner until we could find an editor. um, and up until now I decided, you know what, let's do it a different way. Alvin's still here. Marcelo has unfortunately left the company, and we got to keep moving. Alvin, he has a lot going on in school, so he will be joining us back in the fall. But for the meantime, and hopefully for the rest of near future, I got some childhood friends with me that I've known forever, and so I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Boys.
You go first. Well, my name's Caleb. Known Marcus for years. I'm excited to help out with the podcast. My primary focus will be talking about football since I'm a big old football junkie. And team I'll probably cover the most. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, not a bandwagon. I've been a fan growing up. That's where I'm from, Kansas City. So we'll be talking about those a lot.
Yeah, my name is Tomas. I know Marcus for also probably the same amount of time. I mean, since he's basically moved in New Mexico. Now, of course, he is somewhere else. But yeah, I'll be covering mostly NFL and mostly Chargers news and maybe some off-season stuff with the Chargers. Yeah.
And Tomas will also be taking care of our social media too. So all those interesting clips and stuff you see on TikTok or Instagram or even on the YouTube page, or just short little clips of things that we talk about, that's mainly him. Last but not least,
I'm Lucas Contreras. I've known Marcus for a good while too. Lived pretty close together. Uh, have many street ball memories. I remember when he busted his head open playing basketball, so that was pretty cool. Um, I'll be covering pretty decent amount. Soccer is probably my main. NFL is pretty strong right now. 12s, we up right now, winning the Super Bowl. We're gonna
show
run
him
it
your
back.
pride.
We got
Show him your pride. Stand up for it. Stand
yeah.
up
I
for
got
your
my I
pride.
got my jersey on,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I got my poncho in the background too over there. So, but we're definitely running it back. I think we're gonna hit dynasty level here soon. So, but excited to be able to further my education on sports too as well. So it's exciting.
Is that an Emerald City Route Artist jersey?
Yeah, it's fake, but yeah, I got one.
Hey, I have two fake Arch Manning jerseys, and they were like $50 a piece. It looks damn near the exact same, so you can't
Yeah,
blame them. You can't blame
I
them.
ain't chilling.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm repping.
I'm
That's
not
all that
about to
matters,
pay
bro.
like $150 for a jersey. You got me ducked
As
up,
long,
Yeah,
bro.
as long as you're repping the team, repping the player you like, then
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
I
lastly,
ain't
we
bad money
do
either.
And then lastly, we do have another member besides the ones that are here. He will be joining us next week. He is actually Lucas's brother. He's also very proficient with like football, soccer, Formula One, and even baseball too. So there's a lot that we're going to be going over in the near future. But without it all, let's go ahead and get started. So today's topics that we're going to be going over is mainly going to be covering, what happened in the Super Bowl, and also we're gonna towards the tail end we're going to cover Formula One. So first overall recap. Let's talk about y'all's reaction to the Super Bowl. What are we thinking? How do we think about it?
Well, my honest thoughts about the Super Bowl. Wasn't so bad. I know a lot of people typically, when you watch games, you want the explosive plays, you want touchdowns. Up until that fourth quarter, it was a very defensive game with Seattle having 12-0 up until that fourth quarter. So I want to say it was a bad game. Defenses were definitely balling out, and Seattle put the number on the Patriots, New England at the end. But that typically is what happens, dude. When you get the ball so much, you're gonna run away with it at the end.
yeah, my reaction's probably most likely the same. I mean, Seattle's defense was just outstanding. The first, they didn't allow touchdowns to the fourth quarter, I think. Kicker did good. Seahawks kicker did good. And of course, Kenneth Walker won Super Bowl MVP, so he did amazing. He had won 65 total yards, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely deserved it. I feel like the late touchdown really did just sell it to Barron. the tight end, and yeah, I mean, just really just a defensive masterclass. I know it's kind of a boring game, but I enjoyed it watching it.
And Lucas, as the Seahawk
Yeah.
fan,
Yes,
I know
sir.
you
Yes,
were
sir.
jumping for joy at times. And before you get your overall reaction, we can't help but say, as fans, especially as a college football fan, can't help but say it was a bit of a snoozer. Yes, Caleb said that it was the boys said it was a defensive masterclass, but I mean, you can go ahead and give your own take because I know we did talk about it a little bit personally off camera about your overall thoughts on the game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think for me personally, it was kind of what made it extra slow was knowing we're gonna win, but just waiting for the clock to hit zero. I think was kind of like, bro, let's just get this game over with type of thing. But overall, I mean, as a Seahawks fan, like knowing going into the game that defense is what's gonna be the game shower, like did not disappoint whatsoever. With such a young, powerful, bright defense, like just how I mean, I'm sure I've heard everyone else say just how fast they are, how explosive they are. DeMarcus Lawrence coming over from Cowboys. Just Witherspoon blitzing, even Warrior being able to be healthy and stay in the game. Julian Love with the pick. Kobe Bryant outstanding defense. Like just these guys are just a whole nother level of defense. And all year long I've been saying, as a fan, I'm like, bro, we're going to the Super Bowl. Like, there's just something different about this team. You got guys that are saying, man, could these guys be the next Legion of Boom? And I think it's awesome that they have their own nickname. The Dark Side. I think that's pretty dope. Just shutting them out, man. Like, just killing all hope on every offense. I mean, literally, like they did Drake May. Like you get a guy who's saying, you got guys saying, hey, this is an MVP candidate, and then like you just watch the way he played, and man, he just looked like any other basic quarterback out there. And so the fact that Seattle's defense can make someone so special look so average, I think is just saying so much that a lot of people aren't recognizing. And I think that's been the hard part all season long, is just so many people were just like covered up their success this year. Like it was just kind of like flew under the rug, and yet Super Bowl contenders. And even then it's like now they're barely getting their name out there. And so yeah, it was a snooze fest. It was, but like I said, as far as like watching the defense, man, like it's everything you wanted to see as a Seattle fan.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Me and Alvin were watching it here in like the theater room, and bro, we were like, we damn near were passing out by the fourth. When the fourth started, and we just turned off the game. It was like we already know who's gonna win, and on top of that, it was just like punt, punt, punt. And
Yeah.
speaking that, I have the stats here pulled up. So realistically, statistically, Drake May threw quote unquote a better game statistically, even though he had 2 interceptions. Drake May was 27 for 43, so over 50% for passing for 245 yards or 245 yards. With 2 touchdowns and obviously those 2 interceptions. Sam, on the other hand, he had a very efficient game in terms of where he placed the ball and also how he placed the ball. He was exactly 50% on 202 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, surprisingly enough, the memes were not lying when they said that the punter had more punting yards than Drake May in the entire offense alone. The punter had 8 punts for 356 yards. It's insane. Yeah. That's insane. And the funny thing is that dude that streaked the field, I don't know if y'all saw that clip. Supposedly he had more yards than Drake May. I was like, I don't think so, but he definitely had more rushing yards. Drake May had 37. Now, Kenneth Walker, 27 carries on 137 yards. Now, I definitely think he should have gotten it over Drake May if we were comparing, or over Sam Darnold, if we were really comparing. Because if Kenneth Walker wasn't in that backfield, it wouldn't have been nowhere near exciting for Seattle's offense. But my real MVP of the game, this is just me, the person who kind of kept the score alive a little bit for majority of the game, was their kicker, Jay Myers.
Yeah.
5 for 5 on field goals. Come on now. That was my real MVP, to be honest. Like if they didn't kick field goals and they were just trying to go for it every time, it would be a snoozer. It was a snoozer, to be honest. But another thing I wanted to kind of transition to a little bit is why would you think some people are calling it a snoozer? I mean, at least for me, I know Kilo kind of touched upon it, but what do you think for the general population where they think it's a snoozer? You know, people that don't always tune into football or everything like that.
Mhm. I think a lot of people are just so used to touchdowns. When you look back at, to me, what it comes to my mind is the Denver and Buffalo Bills game. Even with Denver being quote unquote being probably one of the best defenses or top defense in the NFL, they allowed what 30 something points to Buffalo, and then Buffalo also put up like 30 something points. Like people are just so used to touchdowns, but that's the way like a lot of people talk about. That's the NFL now these days is offense. A lot of coaches are offensive minded, and they just want to put up touchdowns. And this was I think I read something the other day with the Seattle's head coach. He's the first primary defensive play caller head coach that won a Super Bowl. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think definitely maybe we'll start transitioning back into these days where defenses are, of course, being more looked upon and people wanting to go that way again. Because there was also saying something that every top 10 defense or every like top defense in the NFL, they made the playoffs. Man, I think we're going to start transitioning that way.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's a snooze fest just because to the average like viewer, of course, it was a really defensive game. So, and I think people are really overrating the Patriots' offense, especially their O line. They've always had a problem with I think Will Campbell, but it
Well,
was
it's just that
never.
left. It's that left side, to be honest, because there's two
Yeah, that
rookies
whole
on
left
that
side.
side.
And honestly, I mean, I feel like just because of that, I think they should probably move Will Campbell to guard, or I don't think right side because the right side's actually good, but his short arms were definitely a problem in that Super Bowl, and it showed. And just Drake May running around for his life. Pats fans didn't like that. Of course, Seattle's fans were, of course, happy with the outcome and happy how the game was going and the physical plays and all that. But and of course, there's like 30 million viewers plus,
Yeah.
and not everyone's gonna like it. But there's definitely a majority that I would say did enjoy it. I honestly did enjoy watching that game.
Yeah, I can even say as a Chiefs fan, dude, I enjoyed this Super Bowl a lot more than last year's. I mean, my team got their ass kicked, so
Yeah, they did.
yeah. So I mean, I love a good football, dude. And even though yeah, it was a defensive game, they made it good. It was a close game. Both teams are playing their hearts out on the defensive side. Yeah. Seattle would drive down the field, put themselves in field goal range, but then they would get held up by New England. New England would come through on the defensive side, and then the ball would go back to New England, and they couldn't move the ball.
Yeah.
They would get shut down, three and
Yeah.
out. Drake May was scrambling around for his life, just couldn't really do much. He did have those two costly turnovers, and turnovers kill you, bro. They lose you the game. So yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't a
I
good game.
honestly feel like the lights definitely got to him, and it wasn't helping that he was running for his life like Caleb Williams his rookie year. Like, geez, man, like I was having flashbacks, and I'm a Vikings fan, and obviously the Bears and Vikings are rivals, but I just felt bad for Caleb Williams. That dude was running for his life, and same thing with Drake May in the Super Bowl. So like the combination of running for your life, and then on top of that, it's the Super Bowl. It's your first Super Bowl. It's your head coach's first Super Bowl. It's the two rookies on your left side first Super Bowl. And you have to deal with all that with the dark side on the opposite side of the goal line. That's really tough. That's really tough. And as we transition, kind of moving a little bit more, what exactly do y'all think went wrong for the Patriots in terms of what could have they done better in terms of game planning? Tomas, this is a little bit more towards you as the stats guy. What do you think they could have done in terms of game planning or made adjustments pre-game or even at halftime to kind of combat the dark side defense?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really hard for them within a week to try to, really fix up their line. Their line was just they're saying Will Campbell was hurt. I don't know if that's true or not. If it is, then of course that sucks. Playing injured, but um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you can't really do nothing with the receiver talent you have in New England, especially with Seattle and how much they run physical corners up, mostly man. I mean, And the only defense they played really well against was the Broncos, and they didn't have a starting quarterback, so you really couldn't consider that I guess, a real win.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like they couldn't really do anything worse but better. I mean, try not to turn over the ball, but I mean, they weren't really running efficiently either, so just kind of a nothing you could do situation. I feel like.
Do you think they could have swapped the right guard to the left guard and kind of put one rookie on one side, one rookie on the other, instead of stacking them on the left side? That could have probably helped out that left side a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe they could have done that, but it had to probably be earlier in the season. It shouldn't have been so late to think about. But yeah, for sure, they should have definitely kept Bull Campbell at left tackle for his rookie year to see how he develops as a tackle. But
Hmm.
yeah, probably do switch to guard and right guard, but they did draft a primarily left guarded college player right now,
Yeah.
and it's just that's just the way it is. I mean, that Seattle D line is really really talented, really really good. Could honestly get better this offseason too. Is young, and yeah, I don't think there's really nothing the Pats could have done to win that game. Like I said,
Hmm.
maybe one less turnover from Drake May, but you can't really blame it on him.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, that's. I mean, that shit happens, And speaking of shit happens, we're talking about Go Doza, all right, and the Natty. Now, I've been asked this question, and I've been asking this question to a lot of my peers, a lot of my friends, including you guys. But for the overall general population who will watch this, was the Natty better? Was the Natty better? The national championship of college football better? And if so, why?
Uh, I would have to go, man. It's a tough. I think both games were really good to me. Um, like I said, a lot of people will tend to college football has a lot of points. I think you see less defense in college football and like the whole turnover aspects because you see teams put up crazy numbers on each other all the time.
Hmm.
College football has a lot of touchdowns. That game wasn't really crazy high scoring, but it was an outstanding game. I think especially Mendoza sealing the deal at the end with that touchdown. That just like, but yeah, I think uh, I would go the college game. College NFL championship game was better.
Yeah, I'll probably say the exact same thing. I feel like the Natty was better just by a little bit of a margin, just because that it did come down to last quarter. Um, Miami was getting uh, dominated at first, but what was it, 10-0 at half, and then after
Yeah, it was 10-0 at
started
half.
making a little stir up a little comeback, 21 points, still lost by what, 6, I think. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Natty was definitely a little better, a little more offensive plays, especially from uh, both sides. I mean, both sides of the ball. Brian Robinson Jr. played pretty good at his edge, and Fernando Mendoza, just capped off his perfect season, his Heisman run, and most likely the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah. Luke?
For sure. I think I'm a little biased on this one. I think Super Bowl is definitely, I think takes it. I think there's just more at stake for Seahawks. So I think that's what made it more personal. You know, 11 years later, after the dumb, like as I mean, everyone would say the dumbest play in Super Bowl history. 11 years
Oh
later, you
yeah.
get your comeback, and it's like, you get your same team. You get the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You got the Sam Darnold story. You got the Kenneth Walker. Who's been dominant all year long, but just when it comes to the goal line, Charbonnet was the man they get the ball to. So you have him. You got, like I said, the whole defense. So I think I'm a little biased, but I think just the Super Bowl, man, was just so much more at stake. I mean, I heard a lot of the players talking about, like, the difference between the style they thought of it is like, they're like, we don't do it for the money, like, which I mean, as I feel like kind of what's messing up the game, like, college and NFL is the money deal, but the way they were just like, they did it out of like pure emotion and not for like I'm not gonna play good because I'm not getting good money, or I'm not gonna do this. So I think the raw emotion from the team is kind of what really brought more like enthusiasm into the Super Bowl. The college game was great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you got Heisman, you got Natty, like everyone was that in college. But it's like they say, even in college, the dream is to have a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So to have that Super Bowl come back to Seattle, and for us 12 fans, it's like I think it's just more of like, man, this is gonna go down as a pretty memorable Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I kind of oppose a little bit with Luke, but obviously, as I've stated before, I'm not a big NFL fan. Like I for the last couple of years, I think it's been a little boring in my opinion. When I watch a college game, man, it's always exciting. There's always something going on, and I remember a few games like the Ole Miss Georgia game from this past postseason playoffs. Everybody was doubting Ole Miss, and especially with Trinidad Chambliss. By the way, he got his waiver declined because he tried to stay for like a sixth year. So he's got to go to the big leagues and get drafted late. But with Gator Dunner Gunner, at the helm of Georgia, everybody thought that Georgia was going to run through Ole Miss, and especially Ole Miss didn't have Lane Kiffin as their head coach. So there was a big storyline there, and I think with college football as a whole, there's always different storylines going on with different teams, and who the hell thought that Indiana would have made a 1-year turnaround or 2-year turnaround with Kirk Cignetti at the helm? Shit, as a college football fan, I didn't even know who Fernando Mendoza was, nor Kirk Cignetti, until the playoffs started. And then when I saw their schedule, because everybody talks about cupcake schedules, Texas Tech is known to have those. It's the fact that I looked at the schedule, was like, no wonder they're 11-0. They haven't played nobody besides Oregon, and they damn near lost to Oregon. Fernando threw a pick six in that game to kind of make the game, to tie up the game at that point. But still, it's things like that where you never think like someone could do that. But Kirk Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza, like they did something special that we haven't seen in football nor college football in such a long time. Like Indiana, we never thought we would ever see in the Natty. Like if I would have asked y'all last year, after that weird ass playoffs that happened where Ohio State won, and we all thought Notre Dame was doing something at one point. If I would have asked y'all, do y'all would have really thought Indiana was gonna win a Natty this year? Probably not. Fuck no. Who the heck was going to think Indiana? But that's the beauty of it. And that's why I love college football so much more. And when we get to the Natty, on the other hand, like I said, it's the beautiful storyline of a team that everybody doubted, a team that doubted them every step of the way, not only in the playoffs, but through the season upcoming. That's why people like me and a lot of the rest of the fan base didn't even know who the hell they were, to be honest. And then on top of that, you got Miami with their 20th year quarterback who's, breaching 30 by now. He's scared of the NFL, I guess, and he probably should drop out at this point, not go. But it's Carson Beck. He transferred from Georgia, went to Miami, and in hopes to take them to something they're not, which Miami hasn't been a Natty in a long time, which everybody talked about. And so for both of these teams striving to win that Natty, it's so awesome. And once again, Carson Beck did Carson Beck things, blew it in the big moments, and Fernando Mendoza finished his Cinderella story. Won the Natty, one of the nicest guys you'll ever see, possibly meet if we did get to meet him. And then on top of that overall coach player dynamic, that kind of reminds me of like a Bill Belichick, Tom Brady dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like that overall QB coach dynamic. That's what it reminds me of. And I've been to a college football game. Caleb's been to a college football game. It's just the environment. It's just so different, man. It's so different. There's just something about it, like either being at DKR or being at the Texas Tech football field. It's just that overall environment that just like really encapsulates you. And then when you go to like an NFL game, it just more feels like it's for people on TV, that like we all saw the thing about halftime where halftime is primarily for TV, but then the people in the crowd just kind of, they're nowhere near involved in it.
I feel like I'll counter you on that, dude. So, me and Tomas, we went to a Chiefs game together back in 2019, something like that.
19, yeah.
It was like around 2019. Remember, it was a Kansas City against Oakland Raiders, dude. And I mean, I, I feel like it really depends on the fan base. Of course, I don't know.
I think it also depends on like the stadium and the team as well. Because like you can't tell me you're not going to go if you go to like Michigan or Penn State, those types of environments. Like that's really hard to beat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I'll tell you what. Like when we went to that Chiefs game, man, dude, they get crunk over there, dude. They do. And me and Tomas walked out of that stadium with like no voice. Like it was just gone, doing straight tomahawk chant every fucking third down. Like it was loud, bro. You see on TV all the time when you watch the Chiefs on prime time or whatever, and when they're on defense and the opposing quarterback, it's like 3rd and 10, and the opposing quarterback's got to cover his ears because he can't hear shit. Like it's real, bro. You can't hear yourself fucking screaming and shit. It's loud. That place gets loud, and I feel like a lot of the NFL stadiums do, of course, because I mean, we Americans, we love football. We love football. And with the whole college football thing and how we were saying, none of us kind of would expect Indiana to win the national. I kind of feel that way with the NFL. I knew Seattle was putting together a team, but dude, I didn't have them winning the Super Bowl. I didn't think that they were going to even be in the Super Bowl because of course, this is preseason. I know the Chiefs had a fucking horrible year this year, but I'm talking about preseason. Who do you think every Super Bowl? You think Kansas City? You think Buffalo? You just think 49ers?
I thought it was going to be Eagles. I thought Eagles might run it back. I thought the Bills might actually turn their shit around. I thought the Ravens might have done something differently because they've been running the same fucking formula every year and it does not work. So there was a lot of this playoffs. You know what it reminds me of? It's like when Notre Dame and Washington were in the national championship like a couple of years ago. Like nobody expected either of these teams to get that far. And same thing with this Super Bowl. Who the fuck thought that a young Patriots team and the Seahawks with a brand new quarterback just coming off a shitty season with Geno Smith, who the hell would have thought they would have made it this far? So I completely see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the beauty of football, man. I mean, you put the guys in the right position, dude, and the right coach, the right leadership, and you're gonna get great things from it. You're gonna get those results. And I mean, we see it with Indiana, Seahawks, New England. Even Will Campbell said in his interview before the Super Bowl, he was saying, they just came from them being the 4th overall pick in the draft last year, dude. Like they were not good at all, and then now they're over there in the Super Bowl. So I think it's the beauty of football.
Luke?
Yeah, for sure. I think I agree 100%. I think also like what the whole Seattle trade, getting rid of Geno, getting rid of DK, getting rid of Lockett, as someone who's watched them, it's like, man, why in the world are you letting, Lockett, a veteran who's like a guaranteed, catch every play, why would you let him go? Someone like DK, it's like, it's understandable why they let him go, but at the same time too, you're like, man, that dude's just, you can't deny that he's a freaking beast on the field, So it's like, whenever you like get rid of him and you just have, Jackson Smith and Jigba, then you bring in, Cooper Kupp, and it's like, kind of like, what in the world are these guys doing right now? You know what I mean? So for them to make those moves, get rid of those players, and then to bring a guy like Sam Darnold, where it's like, man, like this guy had a great year in Minnesota, don't get me wrong, but again, looking back, it's like, man, I don't know, like, but then whenever you just go and you see the type of connection and the energy that the coaches bring to the team really affects, the outcome of it, like I'm sure y'all seen the clip of Mike Donald, when he first got hired, the very first speech he gave was talking about how they're going to be in the NFC Championship, and like along the whole 2 years later, there they are against their own division rival, the Rams. And I think that's what kind of made it more special is the fact that Seattle had to go through San Francisco, had to go through the Rams. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, were kind of like, man, like it's just the same teams over and over again. But I think that kind of truly built a deeper rivalry for like the Seahawks and them. I think that's the one thing college does have over NFL too, is just a rivalry. I think that's like another. I mean, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But to see like all the memes about how Seattle won a Super Bowl in Levi Stadium, just to brag about it to all the other divisions. And then, I'll brag up to my friends who are 49ers and Ram fans. It's like, it's just crazy to see the outcome that they got. I mean, like I said, yeah, of course, every year you're going to be like, oh, my team's going to win it, especially like, as a Chiefs fan. Like every year you're going in thinking we're making playoffs easy. Now, you got the Broncos coming up who are pretty Chargers. They got some stuff to fix before they, I think, are really pretty good contenders. They got a great quarterback there, but it's like, man, it's like Buffalo, though, man. It's like you got to start asking yourself, you got Allen, you got Lamar, you got Darnold, and yet, Darnold's the only one winning the Super Bowl out of that whole class. It's like you kind of got to start to question, like, man, who's really the top, quarterback in that category in that year. And I think Sam Darnold really put a stamp on his career winning the Super Bowl. And I think I don't think it's just a fluke. I don't think it's a 1-year fluke. I think they're really gonna be dominant for a good couple years coming up. So, and then it's same with Indiana, man. Like, if you were to, I wouldn't even know they had a football team. In all honesty, like whenever I'm like, hey, like Indiana's playing like cool, whatever. Oh shoot, they're undefeated. Oh shoot, what, they're going to the national championship. Oh shoot, their quarterback won the Heisman. Like, yeah, same thing. Just those Cinderella stories where it's like, man, when you come from absolutely nobody to winning it, it's like I think there's just something even more special about that. So when you have Indiana go against a school like Miami and stuff, it's just kind of like for Indiana to win, it's pretty cool to see that as well.
Yeah, yeah, just kind of touching base with everything that you said, especially with Sam Darnold, he's like this definitely puts a stamp. But we can't forget he took my team, the Vikings, also Alvin's favorite team, 14-3 last year. That was our best season since we went 8-0 with Kirk the year before we kind of hit a wall, And when we hit that playoffs, that's just our freaking luck at that point. But when you look at the overall landscape of where Sam was this past offseason to now being a Super Bowl champ, to being a Super Bowl MVP, to being drafted really high not that long ago, then doing dog shit with the Jets. How stupid do the Vikings look now? How do they look now with not only letting Daniel Jones walk out the door, but also letting Sam Darnold walk out the door? Yes, we know that they offered him a certain amount, but obviously they didn't want him enough to be like, hey, we're going to try to sign you a bit more without, because we had a really good season. You would have thought they would have tried to free up some cap space. And obviously we know now in the this offseason, that, they let go of Kwesi, which is far too late in my opinion. I knew that they were probably going to let Sam walk when we got the freaking handoff merch, who calls himself Nine, trying to be Cam Scat Jr. Jeez. It's just like, as a Vikings fan, I'm fully aware that my team and the overall decision suck. But when you look at reports by Adam Schefter, it was actually coach that wanted to keep Sam, but Kwesi said, no, we're going to go get more picks. So tell me, what do y'all think? How stupid do the Vikings look?
I mean, the Vikings do look pretty dumb without how their season ended up, and then seeing Sam Darnold go to a different team, and of course win a Super Bowl right off rip. You can make the same case for technically Seattle having Geno Smith for a year and kind of wasting a year of their young players' careers because Geno Smith was under helm. But I think it was honestly the perfect fit for Seattle. They needed a quarterback. I don't think they were a quarterback away from winning, but of course, they still did win the Super Bowl. But I think if the Vikings did really do end up keep Sam Darnold in the scenario, I don't think they're the ones holding the Lombardi. Realistically, I think they still have a lot more problems to solve than plug and play quarterback and go to the Super Bowl like Seattle was pretty close to doing. Which they did do. They plug and play the quarterback and they won a Super Bowl off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of say about the same, dude. So the whole Sam Darnold situation. So, Sam Darnold became a free agent and Minnesota signed him from him coming up his 49er season, backing up, can't even think of his name right now. Brock Purdy, there you go. He was backing up Brock Purdy, was behind that Kyle Shanahan offense, and there's a lot of reports saying that's where, Sam Darnold purposely signed with the 49ers. He even said he came to sit back and learn, behind Kyle Shanahan. And obviously it paid off, dude. Look at him now. Then he goes and he signs with Minnesota in the offseason. But then what does Minnesota do in that draft? They draft J.J. McCarthy. So, and then, J.J. McCarthy gets hurt. They're out of their rookie quarterback. Sam Darnold steps in and does his thing. Yeah, Minnesota has a good season. Go to the playoffs, 14-3, like you said. But, you can think of it both ways. I know if I were a GM, I'd probably be fucking fired, just like how the Minnesota GM got did. Because, like, what do, dude? You drafted a quarterback in the first round, and what are you gonna do? Like, that's almost like a waste of a first round draft pick. And you guys drafted him, so I would do the same. I would obviously hey, we got to use our first round draft pick quarterback. It's coming back next year. Let Sam Darnold go. I would do the same.
Yeah, honestly, sorry, Luke. Honestly,
no, you're good.
One of the last first round picks we grabbed was JJ, which was a freaking like a diamond in the rough. Like, we have arguably the best wide receiver in the league. You can make your argument. Obviously, this past year, mind you, he went through more quarterbacks than Blunts on a round table of Snoop Dogg's. Like, he went through a lot, and so it's just like he wasn't offered the best opportunities. Otherwise, with Sam last year, and with Kirk even then last year, he had some of his best years, and he even broke the records. He surpassed Randy Moss. I think he surpassed Jerry Rice as well. And that's just in his first 5 years of being with the league. So it's just more so getting him the right piece to kind of, obviously like y'all said, the Vikings have a lot to work on, but I feel like, instead of taking JJ McCarthy, we definitely could have got somebody more on the defensive side. We definitely could have got somebody on the offensive side, like another younger wide receiver maybe, or even a tight end, because TJ Hawkinson isn't getting any younger, and even somebody at the O-line. You just never know. So it's things like that could have all ultimately propelled the Vikings if they would have kept Sam. But I mean, you also got to think about all the other teams that kind of let him go when he went into the free agency, like how they must feel, now that he, in the span of 2 years, taking a team who was trash after Kirk to 14-3, and then another year took a team who nobody thought was going to go because Geno Smith is dog shit, to the Super Bowl and winning it. So Luke, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't know how, money wise, Minnesota was at with the paying quarterbacks, but I did think it's one of those stories where it's like, man, you get that rookie, that that star rookie, and you let him sit under a man who just led your team to the playoffs for a good while. You know what I mean? I mean, you have that situation in a bunch of quarterbacks who ended up becoming greats. Aaron Rodgers, sat in the back for a good while and he became one of the greats. And I mean, again, I know. I'm sure the mindset is like, we got this rookie. We're gonna trust him with the ball. We're gonna trust him to lead our team. But gosh, man, when you see someone perform like that, it's kind of like, you can't just. It's hard to let him walk out the door like that. And I think it's I think it's a rough spot, for a Minnesota fan to see that. In all honesty, to know that your guy,
face to the organization.
Yeah, I mean, to see that you let your quarterback who led you to the playoffs go. And it's like, because I mean, what if it was any other quarterback? Like, what if it was Mahomes? He had one great year, then Kansas City just let him go. Or what if it was, who Allen? They let Josh Allen go. It's like, it's crazy. It's a crazy story, but it's like, I think for Sam, I think it's the greatest move that could have ever happened for him. I think going back to what Caleb said about him going to the 49ers and how he did say, he just wanted to sit back and learn. I think when you have a guy with that mindset of like, I don't care if I'm the starter. I don't care if I'm the star player. I just want to learn and get better for myself. When you have a guy who's that humble, be at the helm of your team, like that's when you have a good leader up there. When it's like, I don't care what it costs me. I don't care if I need to sit out for a season and learn. Like, I think when you have someone that has a leadership like that, I think that's whenever you have a great guy to follow and be the leader of your team.
Do you think that, like, if y'all would have got Sam, if Vikings kept him, y'all wouldn't have had Sam, how do you think y'all's Super Bowl outcome would have been? Do you think you would have got that far? Like, let's see, if y'all kept Geno, do you think it would have been the same shit over and over again?
Yeah, I think we kept Geno, man. I think it's a repeat of every other season for the past 11 years. Like it's you got the players, but with your quarterback he's just not all there. He's not the smartest quarterback. He's a risky quarterback and not even like a good enough quarterback to be risky. You know what I mean? Like you had guys like Drew Brees who could be risky, but man, they would put it in the perfect spot it needed to be. You have risky guys like Mahomes who the guy can throw a ball laying, freaking flat to the ground and still get it to a receiver. It's like but when you have a guy like Geno, man, and then I think it's because you see what he does when Geno moves too. Geno moves to the Raiders, goes with Pete Carroll, and he just does even worse. You know what I mean? So at that point, you're like, I don't think it's. Sometimes you just gotta be. And I think it's just the player that's just complete trash. So but I do think if we take any other quarterback, I really don't think we get there. If we have Drew
Yeah.
Lock starting, I don't think we get there. If Milroe starting, I don't think we get there. So I do think I really don't think any other quarterback could have fit that play call that Seattle was looking for. And of course, it's going to be tough now with our offensive coordinator going to the Raiders as their head coach. That's going to be something for Seattle to work with is who's going to be our next offensive coordinator. Are they going to treat Sam as good as our last offensive coordinator did, where they just know his play style and stuff? And so yeah, but I really don't think any other quarterback at our starting for us is going to take us to where Sam did. And I think we still have two or three more years with him. And I really think as long as he's there, as long as we got our defense, as long as we got our offensive line, which has been good for the first time in a long time, I really think we need to re-sign Kenneth Walker, man. I think this is kind of another Sam story. I don't think we can just let that guy go. I really think Seattle needs to put some money on him. They got the money to do it. I think they see what he did again, like I said, in the Super Bowl, and I really think you got to put some money up for the guy and say, no, we want this guy to be one of our running backs. I think K9 is definitely an underrated running back. I think he's kind of proven himself throughout this playoff run, and I think if Seattle makes their choices, the wise choices, I really do think, like I said over and over again, I really do think they have a dynasty coming up.
We're talking Pats dynasty.
Shoot, man. I wish.
That would be hard to beat.
It's not even
But
as
as
good
we
as Kansas
can-
City dynasty,
that was short lived.
I'll tell you that Chiefs dynasty.
We'll get into your offseason because that's what we're about to transition
Brady
to right now.
won 3 Super Bowls, bro, and it took him 10 years to win number 4.
Hey,
So
we're about to get
that
into your
dynasty's still
offseason right
going,
now.
bro.
So as we talk about off seasons and certain outlooks for different teams, Caleb, as we know, he's a Chiefs fan, ride or die. No, he's not a bandwagon. He's been with them for a long, long time, ever since he could freaking breathe oxygen. So, Caleb, without further ado, what's going on with the Chiefs offseason? I know that there's questions on Travis Kelce's return. Is he going to retire? Is he going to stay? How healthy are we looking into this offseason? And also, what do you want from the draft? What do you think y'all need? And what do you think y'all can do to improve for next season to not make the same blunders that y'all made this past season?
So, with this season, dude, yeah, we had a horrible record. Of course, Patrick Mahomes tearing his ACL was very horrible for us. But I know, knowing how Patrick Mahomes is, dude, he's a grinder. He's going to bounce back from it and still be the same guy. I mean, when you look at our games, the Chiefs, dude, it wasn't like we were getting blown out of the water. It was honestly the same as last year, but last year we were winning. All the one-score games, we won those games last year, and that put us in the Super Bowl. This year was a whole turnaround. We were losing the one-score games. I mean, the games we put up, against the Chargers, for week 1, it was close. We lost. Week 2, played Philadelphia, defending Super Bowl champs, lost against them. And then we played week 3, had to play Baltimore, dude. Like, we had a pretty hard schedule. And then, of course, played Denver twice a year too. So it's getting to a hard division, and it's only going to get harder now. It's going to happen. We're going to, me and Tomas, we're going to have to deal with Mendoza now. Fernando Mendoza's coming. And, looking into the offseason, the number one thing we need to fix is that budget. I think we're like the worst cap space right now. We're like negative 50 million. So that is the first thing Kansas City needs to fix is that cap space. And And it's going to start with cutting Jawan Taylor, dude. He's making a lot of money, and he hasn't been living up to it, our offensive tackle. I want to say, cutting him, we're going to save $20 million, and that's going to free up some room. We're going to have to restructure some contracts. I would think Travis Kelce's contract is going to get probably restructured for sure. I am thinking he's going to come back next year. I'm pretty sure he is. And
one more ride.
yeah, I think he's going to go on a ride for redemption. I think he's going to really push through it, man. And I think it's best for him, to come back and play another year. Him and Mahomes are super close, and he saw Mahomes blow out his knee, and I know he doesn't want to go out like that either with the way this year went. So I think this is like the last ride. Like, hey, let's get together. This is a comeback year for them both, dude. Coming off an injury, Travis Kelce facing retirement, Travis Kelce's contract will get restructured, and getting into the offseason, like Lucas said, I know he's probably most likely going to re-sign with Seattle, but I would love to see Kenneth Walker in the Chiefs jersey, just because, dude, look at his performance. He is a good running back, and running backs are cheap, and we already have budget concerns, so it's not like we're going to have to pay crazy money for a running back. But if we did want to go into offseason and sign like a good offensive tackle, that's easily going to be like 20-something million, 15, 16, 17 million. It's going to be up there. Same with wide receivers. So I think if I wanted to do it the budget smart way, I would want to look towards getting Kenneth Walker or maybe Breece Hall heading into free agency, and then filling in the offensive tackle position in the draft.
Nice. And Tomas, I don't know that much about the Chargers, what's going on with them. But Jay Herbert been keeping y'all alive. Jay Herbert been keeping y'all alive. So what same questions for you? What
MVP? The one MVP vote, Justin Herbert. Yeah, I mean, man, the fact that the way the Chargers season ended was pretty bad, and was against the runner-up Super Bowl champs, the Pats. I think realistically, yeah, we shouldn't have been in the playoffs. I mean, Herbert did carry that team on his back. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen
for a long time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've seen the one MVP vote and the guy getting criticized for it. I mean, I'm of course a Chargers fan, so I'm biased, so I don't really know where the MVP vote would have went if it would have went to Drake May. Drake May still, I mean, he still lost in the Super Bowl even if he did win MVP. MVP's, I mean, it's a good trophy, but I don't think it would have mattered that much. But yeah, back to the Chargers off season. I think bringing back some key pieces. I think like Khalil Mack's a free agent this year. Maybe best case scenario, re-sign him to a little bit of a veteran friendly deal. Maybe last year we played him $18 million for 1 year. Maybe around the same contract. Honestly, I would not mind that. Can't let him walk to go to another team. If he retires, then it kind of sucks, but. We would have to re-sign another edge like Adolphe Owe, who was also on the Chargers. The Chargers have Tui Belotu, who's also a great edge as well. Bring back Keenan Allen's said on a podcast that he wanted to come back for another year. He said he felt healthy, felt good. So of course we need a great wide receiver, consistent wide receiver, and Keenan Allen would be good to bring back. Especially with our new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to do some great things on the Chargers. And, yeah, I mean, got to draft definitely O-line. If not, sign some in free agency like Tyler Linderbaum. He's a center. I mean, Bradley Bozeman was probably the worst player on a football field at any consecutive time. I think I would have anybody else at center. Literally, I don't know why we didn't put in Andrew James or backup. They're just, I think at any point of the field, if it was Chargers versus whoever, even Chargers versus Vikings, when they did play him, I think Bradley Bozeman was still the worst player on the field. No matter
Have you seen Justin Skull? That's all Alvin talks about is get rid of Justin Skull. He doesn't even know how to do his own job, and he's 6'8" or whatever how tall he is. Like, so I feel your pain. I feel your pain. And it's crazy. You said Keenan Allen. Bro, Keenan Allen has been in the league for how long, Tomas? Since we were like what, 5th grade? 6th grade?
It's been a while. I think it'd be 14th season coming back. I think he's on.
Jeez, man, that's Jerry Rice numbers.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time. Started off as a third round pick from Cal. Was mainly returners rookie year. But he was a good receivers rookie year for sure. I mean, but yeah, I think just fixing up our O line would also help. I mean, and also bring back one of our running backs, Vidal, who kind of came out, showed some promising stuff whenever he was on the field when Amari Hampton got hurt, and so did, of course, Najee Harris towards ACL. I want to be mad at a Najee Harris return. Um, would probably be a more friendlier contract, the prove it contract again. Something like 3 mil, less than 5 mil for sure.
Mhm.
And definitely secure the backup tackles because the Chargers had 18 plus offensive line combinations. I mean, it was bad. I mean, we're getting hurt left and right. Joe Alt getting injured, Rashawn Slater getting injured at the beginning of the year. Did not help. Our guards were just kind of just terrible because they really had help with the tackles out, and then you have Bradley Bozeman at center. That's also not helping your guards. I mean, your whole O line
Yeah.
is no one on that O line was helping really anybody. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think just focus on coming back healthy, bringing back some key pieces, and just drafting the right guys. I know a lot of people don't like drafting O linemen. It's a boring, first round pick. Offensive guard, especially a guard, like uh, people don't watch film on the guards. They watch like receiver film. They like the plays on what receivers do. But I mean, your O line does matter. I mean, it is one of the most important position groups in the NFL. And yeah, I think you just fix up the O line, let it get healthy, get both your starting tackles back, draft a guard, sign a free agency and center, maybe also sign some good backups like Trevor Penning was on the Chargers. I think re-sign him would be pretty good. And yeah, I think the Chargers offseason does look pretty bright and pretty brown.
And this past year was y'all's first season with Coach Harbaugh. Going into y'all's second season with Coach Harbaugh, what are we thinking? How do you like the Coach Harbaugh, as the new head coach? Like I said, I know the Chargers have been struggling lately, and they actually, Coach Harbaugh seems like he's a really good guy. And then on top of that, y'all have Mike McDaniel now as y'all's OC. Like, come
Yeah.
on now. Like you said, the future is most definitely bright for it's most definitely bright for the Chargers. It's like you said, just bring in the key pieces. And speaking of key pieces, Luke, you guys just came off a Super Bowl. What do you guys think you need to do to capitalize on this and possibly run it back again for a back-to-back Super Bowl? And then even so, I know you guys just lost y'all's OC to go to the Raiders to go help out Fernando Mendoza. So what do you think you guys need to do to turn this into, not a one-trick pony or, a one season, a one and done type of thing?
For sure. I think really quick, going back to Tomas was saying about getting a O line. I mean, that's what Seattle did. First pick, we went out and got Greg Zabel. You know what I mean? He held that left side of the line down, man, and ended up probably one of the best rookies in that on the O line. By far. So I think, yeah, for sure. Like everybody wants the wide receiver, everybody wants the running back, the quarterback, but when you get a good O lineman, the impact that Greg Zabel had on Seattle, and you get him, you put him anywhere else, it's huge getting a good offensive line or defensive lineman on that first round. But in order for Seattle, man, I think the players we have in free agency right now, I think are some comfortable losses. If I'm being honest, the only one that I think is that's gonna really hit hard the most is if we do not, like I said, I mean, I went back to this, if we do not re-sign K9, man, I think if we don't, I think Charbonnet's good. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good running back, but man, Kenneth Walker he's a dog, man. He proved that time and time again, especially in the playoffs with the defenses like Rams defense, the Patriots defense, like the fact that he got 160 rushing yards, almost had 100 rushing yards in the first half alone. I mean, Granted, he didn't get into the end zone, which is what you kind of want, but when you have a guy who can set you up like that to get field goals, and you have an accurate kicker like Jason Myers, man,
135.
yeah, 135. Oh, so I was way off, but
On
But
27
anyway, the
carries.
100 plus yards, regardless, in a Super Bowl like that, it's really gonna hurt if we don't get him back. I know there's a bunch of other teams out there looking for a guy like him. In all honesty, I really don't think he's worth a lot of money. I think that's why Seattle should sign him, is because I think because he's not worth that much money. We have the money. It's like, sign him. I know that's a shocker statement to say. I know it's a shocker, but I really do think a team can get him for a pretty cheap price. Like Caleb was saying, especially with someone like the Chiefs, where he can make a pretty good impact on whenever the Chiefs, passing game's not going, and you have a guy like K9 in the backfield, and I think that's what Seattle had, when their passing game is not working, they have the line to do their running game, and I think that's what really saved them in the Super Bowl too. So for sure, I think he needs to be a stay. I think he needs to be a must stay. I think, getting rid of Cooper Kupp. I know he's a free agent. I believe. I think he's just one of those old vets. You know what I mean? Just a safe guy to, hey, you know what, man? If JSN's Cup. Look at his performance in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? JSN was on locks all game long. Who'd they go to? Old reliable Cooper Kupp. Had an outstanding performance in the Super Bowl. Letting him go, I don't think is that big of a loss. We had a rookie get hurt. I forgot his name, but he got hurt like mid-season. I think he's a good receiving wing back. Raheed Shaheed, man, the guy's a dog, but I really don't think he's too big of a loss either. I would love to see him go to a place like Kansas City with a quarterback like Mahomes to just chunk the ball to him. You got a guy like Tyreek Hill, but this time he's twice as tall as him. To see him with a quarterback like Mahomes, where, like I said, you get that one explosive play, man, you're already down in your scoring side of the end zone, and that's what happened when they played the Rams. First drive, they threw a 50-yard bomb to him and set him up perfectly for a play. So I'd love to see him go to a team like to Kansas City. I know they got Rice there, Kansas City. I know he's a dog too, but
and Xavier Worthy too.
Yeah, and Worthy. I know you bring back the what would they call the something speed? What was it called? What was their nickname?
I just know that they're Longhorns.
We had the Legion of Zoom or something like that.
Legion of Zoom, yeah, that's what it was. I think Kansas City, if they go sign a guy like that, I think they bring it back, and but I think other than that, I think Seattle's pretty comfortable right now with who I think our tight ends comfortable. AJ Barner, man, that dude's a beast. I think he's an underdog too. I think our O-line's good. I think we do need is it our center who was horrible? I forgot his name, but it was some guy, bro. Like, if you look at clips, bro, like he's just sitting there doing nothing. I think we find someone better for him. I think we're fine letting go of Reek Woolen, man. That dude is just he doesn't. Man, dude, it's like one of those things where it's like you don't want to, you want to keep him, but you got to let him go for. It's just hard. The only touchdown he gave up was on him. Then you go back to the Rams game. I'm sure y'all all remember that, the stupid penalty, and then gives up a touchdown right back to Puka, and I think Seattle's okay letting a guy like him go. I know we have another Kobe Bryant. I think, man, he's one of those two where it's like I think we should keep, but at the same time he's fine letting go. I think us knowing Seattle, I think we're gonna go after some defensive players in the draft. I think
just to kind of build upon. Yeah, because then y'all can call it the Empire at that point. Once y'all build upon y'all defense.
Yeah. So I think Seattle's comfortable. I'm not crazy if we don't sign anyone, in all honesty. I say the only one is K9 that I would really be worried about. But I think I'm, as a Seattle fan and seeing the success we had, I think I'm comfortable with letting some of the players go. So
I forgot to mention this with the Chiefs. So speaking of like coaching turnarounds, we had an offensive kind of coaching change all around. We let go of our wide receivers coach, let go of our running backs coach, and we let Matt Nagy walk. It wasn't a fire with him, we kind of just told him like, hey, your time's done here. He wasn't fired. He openly started taking interviews with other teams for another offensive coordinating spot, which I feel bad for Jackson Dart, but Matt Nagy is now Jackson Dart's offensive coordinator. And, you know, Matt Nagy wasn't the best for Kansas City's offense, but guess who Kansas City got back? We got Eric Bieniemy back. He was previously our offensive coordinator back then. I got some stats right here when Mahomes played under Eric. And, I mean, if this don't give you goosebumps, 2018, Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns under Eric. 2019, 4,000 yards, 4,031 yards, 26 touchdowns. It's still a good year. Was his worst year under Eric. 2020, 4,000 yards, 4,740 yards, 38 touchdowns. 2021, 4,839 yards, 37 touchdowns. 2022, 5,250 yards, 41 touchdowns, all under Eric Bieniemy, and he is back in Kansas City this upcoming.
Now what was the difference under Matt Nagy?
Let me pull that up. Put Patrick Mahomes stats under Matt Nagy. Pull that up real quick.
Yeah, because that's. But hey, the only saving grace of the Giants is the fact that they're a young team and they got Scat Pack in the backfield, which has always been exciting to watch, especially when you watch them at Arizona State, which they almost put my Longhorns out, but luckily, we hooked the shit out of them in the end.
Yeah, and also just Jackson Dart as well. I mean, Jackson Dart is beat the Chargers early on in the season. People are like, how do you lose to a rookie quarterback? But he showed that it wasn't a fluke game. Chargers do have a really good defense.
So
sometimes
filling in your question, Marcus. So Patrick Mahomes stats under Matt Nagy starting in 2023, where he threw 4,183 yards with 27 touchdowns. It's still a good season, but nowhere close to where it was with Eric. 2024, 3,000 yards, 3,928 yards, 26 touchdowns. And
was
then
that
this
with
year,
injury?
No, this is the year coming up with injury. 2025 with injury, Patrick Mahomes threw for 3,587 yards and 22 touchdowns, and he tore his ACL.
Yeah, so it's looking like he was kind of on an incline this past year, even though the Chiefs weren't looking as strong. It was looking like he was already close to surpassing, the 2024 season. Even after, or if the ACL tear didn't happen. Now, Luke, you did mention a player earlier that I've watched ever since he went to Bama, Jalen Milroe. This Super Bowl win, even though he is a quote unquote Super Bowl champion, didn't do a damn thing. But he was on the sidelines. He gave everybody their waters. Told everybody good job. Kind of like how I was when I played my 3 games in senior year. But this kind of puts him in a really tough situation as a quarterback, but also in terms of job security. Because then again, we've learned over time that let's say Sam gets hurt next season, right? I just out of the blue, and then they throw Jalen Milroe in. He might know the scheme, but this man has never. Jalen has faced some of the toughest defenses in college, but he's not faced grown ass men in a live game in a National Football League. That's a different story. So in terms of freeing up cap space, Jalen was a pretty high pick in terms of rounds and also just overall pick. Do you feel like you guys should kind of let him walk, kind of free up some cap space? Because I was thinking about this as you were talking, and I'm like, it just kind of seems like a waste, because all these kids' dreams are obviously playing the NFL. The man hasn't played a singular snap, so it's just more so of like, should y'all let him go develop somewhere else? Now the Raiders kind of closed their door, but maybe could he go quarterback compete with Fernando? Could he go somewhere else that really needs somebody? What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's fine where he's at, man. I know. I think it's one of those stories where it's like, I think it's just like an Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love type of quarterback story. You know what I mean? You got
Or even Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
yeah, where you just have a trusty vet who, especially coming off a Super Bowl, like I said, you see the way he plays, and then again too, just the comfortability in the line that he has there for him. I think he stays, man. I really do. I think he's a great quarterback. He's got great skills. They had some plays where they used him on the, on those QB plays, and I think he'd be comfortable if he stays there. You know what I mean? I think something about just having a this is gonna sound so bad, man. Something about having a black quarterback in Seattle just fits right, dude. You know,
Except it was Geno Smith. That's
except for
different.
Geno Smith, but he had Russell Wilson, man, who but I think he's good where he's at, man. I really do. I don't think he's a waste of money. I think he has great potential. I think we saw that in college, man. The dude was lights out at Bama.
Yeah. His
And
only
I'm
weakness
glad
was he was not clutch. Like the man's
yeah,
only good thing he had going for him is that he could throw it across the field, like
right.
way down deep, like Aaron Rodgers style, like all the way down. But when it came to actual clutch gene, the man doesn't have it. So I think, like
Yeah,
what you said, he can probably develop something along the lines of that, especially being behind Sam, who's been in the league for a while, who's been through his troubles with the Jets, and being passed around with multiple different teams. So I definitely think you're right on that, boys. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think Jalen Murray's perfectly fine where he's at. I mean, he is a very young, talented quarterback. Of course, he's a backup. I mean, like you said, passing out waters during the Super Bowl and stuff. But I mean, that man's definitely been, went through training camp. Definitely tries full reps at practice. I mean, he's doing his best. He's no NFL player I doubt is doing half reps, especially if they're backups. And they drafted him for a reason, I think, especially with what I think it was a third round quarterback, second round. I know third
I think
rounder.
it was somewhere. I thought it was first, but maybe
Nah,
due to like his overall quarterback, I think it was probably second or third.
yeah,
he was third round.
he was a third round quarterback, I think. Yeah, and I think he's just perfect where he is. You're not spending too much on a backup quarterback. I mean, you don't want a nobody like a seventh rounder QB just in case that Sam
Hey,
Darnold does get hurt.
Patriots got a seventh rounder. All right, they got a really seventh rounder. But hey, we did talk about the other. That was a one in a lifetime type of thing. So you never know.
I kind of got a question for y'all boys. I know it's kind of going off topic, but since we're talking like quarterbacks, I really believe this is like a daddy's boy type thing. That's already going to hint at who I'm going to talk about. But let's talk about Shadur Sanders.
Oh
You
shit!
know,
Let's not
um,
even, bro. Oh shit! We could. I'll dive into that. I'll dive into that as the host. As the host, I'll kind of dive into that, making sure we're gonna hurt a lot of feelings, and I don't care because this show's never cared about other people's feelings, especially rich people with dads, who are been in the game for a long time. Honestly, the Pro Bowl as a whole was already like just a bad thing. Like we could
that's
talk
not even a
about
Pro
that.
Bowl anymore.
That was like the least tuned in Pro Bowl I've ever seen.
yeah,
I didn't even know it was going on. That's how shitty the marketing was. And then on top of that, it was on a Tuesday night. It's flag football. It's just like I remember, and we could all talk about this, like the Pro Bowls where they actually cared, and then also the stat of having a Pro Bowl on your record actually meant something.
Yeah.
Now it's just like it's indoors. It's flag football. Nobody's trying. Nobody's trying. And so it was like when you hear Shadur Sanders Pro Bowl selectee or selection, it's like because nobody else wants to do it. Nobody else wanted to go play flag football when they could have been training, or they could have been home with their family, or they could have done this, that, and the third. And then on top of that, this whole thing with the Browns, this whole thing with the Browns. First of all, I think the Browns are a quarterback curse. We've known that. We saw that with Johnny Manziel, with Johnny Football. We saw that with Baker Mayfield. We saw that with Deshaun Watson. All these, historically great quarterbacks, besides Shador, because he got everything handed to him on a platter to a certain extent. They all went to Cleveland, and then they didn't do nothing in Cleveland. You had one of them spiral out in his entire life and just end his football career, end up in Canada playing for a year or two. And then Baker, he's obviously doing great right now with the Bucks, but it's taken him some time and a couple more teams. And with Shador Sanders, the Browns, besides that one wide receiver, I don't know his name, and then obviously Myles Garrett, which me and Caleb have both met, by the way, great guy. That's all they got going for him. So at the same time, we can kind of feel bad for him, but I mean, there were stories in the draft this past draft, NFL draft, where a lot of teams weren't wanting to take him because they knew the risk that would come with it, with his dad, with the cameras, with the fame, with everything in between. Not a lot of teams wanted that, and the Browns of that organization. They had Johnny Football, and we all know how that ended. So they're at that state. We're like, well, shit, we're not going to care. We already dealt with the worst. And I'm not saying Shador is the worst. They just threw him into in the lion's den and hope for the best. Boys.
Yeah, I mean, Shador, whenever he fell off the first round, I remember watching the draft, and I was like thinking he was going to go in the second, and then the second went on, and then third, and then when he fell all the way to the fifth, I mean, when he was at the fifth, I even thought like, hey man, I mean, he wouldn't be a bad backup for Justin Herbert. I was genuinely thinking that. I was like, I mean, he was a decent college quarterback. Yeah, he played, under his dad and all that, but yeah, I think he just honestly is probably one of the worst scenarios you could put him in is with the Browns, man. You just took a quarterback the round before. You're basically telling them, we like this guy more than you. We drafted this guy with more capital, so he's gonna be more important. And also not just getting help for, I mean, either quarterback, even Dylan Gabriel, you could say, didn't really have much help besides Fannin, the rookie tight end who they hit out of the water with. I mean, great tight end from Bowling Green, and you can say what you want about Jerry Jeudy being a consistent receiver and consistent when he gives up on plays and all that, but yeah, I mean, I like to see what the Browns do this offseason and see who they do pick at quarterback.
Well, the good thing is they got rid of their head coach, and I feel bad for Falcons fans now because, dude, we can all agree that the decisions that this man was making all season long were just some of the dumbest decisions in human history. Where, I'm not saying I hate Shador. I don't hate Shador. I don't know him. I can't hate somebody I don't know. But what I'm saying is, like, when he had the opportunity to not only look great, but also to win a game for his team, coach decided, you know what? No, I'm good. We're not going to do that. We're going to go and just kick a field goal, call it a day, or, yeah, it's just like there's so many dumbass decisions. Then on top of that, making his two rookie quarterbacks fight for a starting spot. It's just like all these dumbass decisions that the Browns made as a whole, as an organization, but also the head coaching and everything. It's always, like I said, I feel like the Browns are a quarterback's curse, or shit, anybody's curse. To be honest, it's like one of the worst teams to go to because they don't know how to run in their own team. They haven't. Like, when was the last time the Browns won anything?
Yeah.
It's been a very long time. I know my team hasn't won shit in a while, but at least, I could say we have things like the Minnesota Miracle or a couple NFC championships under our belt. Browns, on the other hand, you get a decently good player or someone who moves on to be great. But if anything, I think the Browns are more so like a starting point for really good quarterbacks. Now, Shador, we don't know because you can honestly make the argument if he didn't have that last name, he probably wouldn't even been drafted. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people were looking at Shadur Sanders when he was at Colorado because he was playing cupcakes. And when you play people that actually mattered, didn't show up. Luke?
Yeah, I think Shador starting is the best thing that could have happened for Dylan Gabriel, in all honesty. I think Shador is now stuck there in Cleveland, and I think this gives a chance for Dylan Gabriel to go somewhere else, man. I think Shador, I generally just don't like him as a player. I don't like his ego. Um, have the swag and everything, but have it whenever you've done something. You know what I mean? Like, have it whenever you're, that dude acts like he's better than Mahomes right now, and it's like, dude, you have no right to act to better like you're better than Mahomes or anyone like that. And I think just his demeanor. I'm not saying don't play with confidence. I think that's the best thing, especially a rookie as a quarterback could do, is have confidence. Like someone like Jackson Dart. Like, I think the best thing you have is confidence. But man, when you have it like him and you do it to where like you get over, like you do it too much, and then like you think you're the best there, and the reality is you're not, and you end up with someone like him. I mean, I'm looking at his stats right now, and the dude he had 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Like, I mean, what do you do with that? In all honesty, like, what do you do with the quarterback who? And then the whole Pro Bowl situation. Like, what the heck? Like, I mean, I think that was whenever I got it. Like, the same thing. I didn't even know what thing was going on. I really was like, I knew Seattle had players in it, but I knew they weren't going to make it because they went to Super Bowl. And then next thing I'm on Instagram and it's like, oh, Pro Bowl highlights, and I'm like, bro, I ain't watching no Pro Bowl highlights. Like, forget that. I'm gonna go play flag football outside by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather
Or
watch.
just go
I'd rather
back in
watch
the day
highlights.
where,
Yeah,
or
I was
like
gonna say
back in
I'd
the
rather
day
watch
where we would
highlights from
play
the
across
streets,
the
bro.
street. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
like shit like
And
that. Where we would like Kilo would be all-time quarterback, and then Tomas on the opposite side playing dog shit defense, and wearing the same don't do premarital sex hoodie on the opposite side. Iconic ass hoodie. But like, I would rather go watch our highlights from then than watch this, because the way I'm thinking as the business dude and also the business mind is like, when you want to diminish something, you don't do it like that because of overall market reaction. So what do? You slowly dumb it down to something that people will probably not know about, and then it happened, but then you just watch the highlights on YouTube, and then the next year it's not there. That's what this is. The Pro Bowl is heading towards being gone altogether because, like I said before, having a 4-time Pro Bowl, 3-time Pro Bowl, that shit meant something. Same thing with All-Star. That shit meant something. Now, hell no. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. And,
yeah,
I remember the days when we were younger where you would throw in the Pro Bowl and players actually, try to play. It's like what the NBA All-Star game used to be. Players actually played each other. You watch the best play the best, which is some of the best things to watch. But just like the NBA, players don't care. So it's pointless. Moving on. Just the whole thing pisses me off. What are some of the teams to watch coming up in this offseason?
sure. I think the Raiders, man. I really
Yeah, I
think
was gonna
so.
ask y'all that. I was gonna ask y'all that because how are the Raiders gonna look as a whole? You got Goat Doza, my freaking Fernando. Even though I'm not an Indiana fan, I just love the guy. And then as a business student, you can't help but admire the guy because he's got the LinkedIn of a god. My LinkedIn looks like shit compared to his. But hey, I can't put Heisman Trophy winner and national championship winner. I can't do half that. But um, but what I'm saying though is like you got Fernando Mendoza came off a 16-0 season, Heisman winner, uh, national championship MVP, everything on that. On top of that, you got Ashton Genty in the backfield. You got Max Crosby, who's potentially going to leave, but we don't know yet. And then on top of that, you got a new head coach, even though Pete Carroll, his old ass just went there for a year. And then on top of that, you still got, more picks in the draft. And then obviously you got offseason. It's just more so of where do you see the Raiders taking it? Like, do you think that they're going to be on a fourth rebuild? Because mind you, they've tried this shit numerous times. But I feel like they have that same curse that the Browns do where they try new shit, they get something good, and then they just fumble it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I am pretty excited to see where the Raiders will take it this offseason. I have to probably verify with Tomas, but I want to say the Raiders probably haven't drafted a quarterback since Derek Carr, like a high value
No,
first round.
let me see.
First
I
round
remember.
quarterback. And I'm pretty sure Derek Carr was a second round pick, but I want to say that was like the latest quarterback that was drafted by them with the high value-ish pick because they were Derek Carr for a while. and then they started to just have struggles after Derek Carr left to New Orleans. But yeah, well, Derek Carr
Cam
was also
Miller. Yeah,
Who?
so Cam Miller and Tommy Mellett, and they also drafted Adrian O'Connell, but
like-
those were all late rounds.
no,
And then the
yeah,
last
Gulak-
first round was 2007. So
ask it a top 100 pick. Say last top 100 quarterback pick. I want to say it was Derek Carr in the second round. But I think it's going to be exciting.
Jamarcus Russell, 2007.
Yeah.
Number one
Wow.
overall pick out of LSU. He was an
What round
absolute
was
bubble.
what round was Derek Carr drafted? I swear he was a second round pick, dude.
Let me see.
Dark Carr.
I swear, out of Fresno, right?
Fresno,
him and-
yeah.
Oh, second round, 36.
What year? Yeah, see, that was after Jamarcus Russell, so
Yeah,
that was more
yeah.
recent.
2014.
Yeah, see, I want to say that had to have been the last.
That was their last. I mean, good quarterback they
Yeah.
drafted for sure.
And Jamarcus Russell was one of those QBs, coming out of the draft or coming into the draft where everybody thought he was going to change the organization around. But if you actually look into the history of it, the man he was a dud.
Yeah.
Like
He's
a freaking
really big, typical-
firework on 4th of July. He's just one of those duds. And I don't see that in Fernando. There's just something special about Fernando. Like, yes, he's gonna have his setbacks. He's coming off a natty. He's gonna have all these high expectations. But the beautiful thing is he's got Tom Brady upstairs, the GOAT upstairs to lean on, to ask questions. I think it's gonna be a really good match.
I'm super excited, really, dude. It's going to be such a stacked division. Like just hearing Mahomes, Herbert, Bo Nix, and then now you got Fernando Mendoza coming in. And Fernando Mendoza, dude, he's got to be one of the biggest quarterback prospects coming in with a season like that since probably like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, same thing, Heisman winner, undefeated season at LSU, won the national championship. Fernando Mendoza is like the same. He's got all this talent. Super good guy. Like you said, he's going to interview the best, He's a good leader, takes accountability, and he's going to be great, dude. I think he is going to be great. I just don't see any flaws in him. And I feel like if he does flops, it's going to be the Raiders organization's fault. But I can see him panning out.
Do y'all think a lot of teams are going to throw a shit ton of picks and money at the Raiders to try to grab them especially after interviews? You would expect that, especially after interviews. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, but I don't think there's a lot of teams that need a quarterback as badly as the Raiders. But how do you think a lot of teams are going to react? Trying to grab that first pick, especially grab Fernando, or even trade current picks for that.
I think the most aggressive team, if there was going to be a situation like that, it'd be the Jets. Yeah, it'd be the Jets. It'd be because they're already at number 2. So if they did, they could, because for number 1, it's also that's a big value. But I don't think it'd be such a crazy trade if you're swapping really from 1 to 2. It's just a swap. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say this is a very strong quarterback class, and the Jets need a quarterback. So they are trading up, and the Raiders know they're losing out on the quarterback. There's no quarterback you can draft at 2 in this draft. So you might have to give up 2 first rounds and something, I think. But
yeah, Luke,
I think. I'll go ahead.
My bad.
I think same thing. Yeah, I think the Raiders have slowly been building. You got Brock Bowers in 2024. You got Ashton Jancy. Then now you just need a quarterback, man. Of course, you still got some other stuff. I think the O-line can still be fixed. Defense still needs to be fixed. But I really don't see another team needing him other than, like you said, the Jets. I really don't. All the other teams I think are pretty steady. I know a lot of quarterbacks got hurt this season, which was kind of, I feel like, through the NFL script off was just everyone getting hurt. But I really don't. I think especially like you said with Tom Brady up there, I really think I'm sure, just like us, but I'm sure Brady sees even something more special in him than anything, And I think he's just a steal, like Caleb said. I don't think there's any other. I couldn't name any other good quarterback in this draft coming up. I don't know anybody in the draft coming up other than him. So to
You got a
keep
lot of
like
like 30-year-olds coming in because
yeah.
their stock expired.
Yeah, so I mean, I really don't see how you can pass this guy up. I mean, I think you definitely throw a lot of picks at him. Like, hey, I'll give you freaking 10 first-round picks for the next 20 years. I don't care, but like, I really don't. I don't think the Raiders can afford to pass this guy up to compete in that division that they're in with the Broncos defense, with the Chargers offense, just the Kansas City. I don't have to say anything about them. You just say their name and they're good. They're going to need a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're going to be stuck in that bottom. You're going to be like the Arizona Cardinals in a dominant division, and you're just going to be a nobody for the next 10 plus years again. And I think the Raiders trust Tom Brady to make the right choice and say, I think we need to go after this kid. He's something special.
Yeah, before we go to Tomas, I will add one more thing. I feel like one thing that's going to kind of hinder Fernando's overall performance, especially in his rookie year, is what everybody's been saying. They have the worst O-line in the league. Like, shit, man. Like, if they saw a toddler, they couldn't block it. Like, seriously. Like, you could throw a semi, you could just put a semi at a halt and they would just let it go by. Like, and put that dang thing in neutral. Like, that's how big these gaps are, and that's what I worry about Fernandez, his overall health, because mind you, he's been used to a really, really good O-line with Indiana, especially coming off these past 2 years with Indiana. He hasn't gotten sacked hardly that much, and if he did, that's mainly because he would rush the ball, and he got caught, or he wasn't paying attention, got caught. Same thing. So it's going to be a really hard transition. It's going to be a big transition for him in general. But it's just more so that's what I'm only worried about in terms of his performance and how his overall transition. Tomas?
Yeah, I think Fernando is. I mean, he's just of course going to go straight to the Raiders. I don't think, like Lucas said, I don't think the Raiders could really mess this pick up or trade it away. He's perfect for that team. Realistically, you draft Fernando Mendoza, and you have arguably a top 20 quarterback right out the gate, coming off as a rookie. And you got, of course, you got Ashton Janty there. Brock Powers definitely going to fix up that line with, of course, like free agency or the draft later on after round one. You have decent weapons there. You have some decent young receivers. You drafted that guy from TCU last year, second round pick. Blanking on his name. I don't know if you remember it.
The wide receiver.
Yeah.
Man, I can't remember.
I don't know.
I know you're talking about that.
Yeah, but he was pretty good at TCU, but they didn't use him that much this year, and I think that was more of a coaching problem. I mean, you bring in one of the best free agent coaches. I mean, he's gonna do something with that Raiders organization. He's gonna turn it around, I think, pretty quick, especially with Fernando under the helm.
Is he frozen?
I think it's gross.
Recording still going. Oh,
he dropped out.
Oh, well,
Just us. We're taking over
we
the
are
show
the
now.
host. We are the host of the
Yeah.
show.
we are taking over.
You're taking over. So, Tomas, where do we leave from here, bro? Where do we go, bro?
Oh, let's see what he has in his.
Yeah, I think this NFL offseason is going to be very exciting around. That's like, I don't know how Marcus can say he's not a big NFL fan, dude. It's
Bro, I don't. He's lost, man. He's a lost NFL fan.
Yeah,
We know we're on
he's
college.
also-
College is so cool. You got like the bands in the student section, but when you have freaking all adults at a game just screaming, you know what I mean? Like, I'd give anything to go to a Seattle game, bro. Like, let's see what he texted in the group. Let's see.
his computer dead.
His computer turned off his technical difficulties.
But yeah, I'd give anything to go like to Lumen Field, bro, and just like experience that. Like something like the Beast Quake, or even like the Raheed Shaheed, kickoff return against the Niners. Like, just to experience that. I'm like, I don't know how many college stadiums, give off earthquake sized, cheering. I mean, of course you have the Penn State and all that, but it's just like Seattle is just like, I think NFL is just more deep rooted, like, like as a fan, like, I mean, a college team, if you ask me what my college team was, I mean, I would say Tech, obviously, just because it's like, that's what I grew up liking. But if you ask NFL team, like I could, in college, I could say I like Tech, and then be like, I like Oregon too. Oh, I like Miami. But like, with the NFL, it's like, no, I got my one team as the NFL, and like, I'm not going to go for anyone else. You know what I mean? I think that's what is special about NFL versus college.
So my take about that, dude, is like when we look at college football and NFL, dude, NFL's constantly changing. So that's what I love, you know. You have greatness, like, you know, you look at the New England Patriots, their dynasty, you have greatness, and then another team will come up, and you had that Eli Manning rivalry with Tom. You had the Peyton Manning rivalry with Tom, and it's just constantly evolving, dude. So many great talent coming in, and and then my take with college is that typically the bigger schools they're just forever good. You know, when you think college football, top schools that come to my mind, of course, you think Alabama, Georgia, LSU. You think of all these big schools, dude, that they're always going to be good. They're always going to be first picks at all the best players. You know,
Yeah.
NIL trying to change that, but at the same time, like NIL, I'm 50-50 with it, bro. Like it's cool that these guys are getting paid, but it kind of does suck in a way because a lot of these kids, I mean, they're 17, 18 years old coming out of high school, being offered $7 million to go play for a school, and it's like they're not doing it from the heart. Like, oh, because this is where I'm gonna
Yeah.
grow, this is where I'm gonna develop and become the best that I can be. Now it's just more of like, where am I gonna go make money? You know?
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and like I said, my bad, my bad. My computer turned off. Stupid thing. No, but as an avid college football fan and Longhorns fan, Longhorns. If you actually look at the stats, they spent $40 million just in NIL. And if we're getting into the whole NIL thing, I was talking with Alvin about this. I think we talked about this past fall. Was the fact that NIL is making it really hard to just bring in recruits. You have some teams that don't even want to bring in recruits. They're like, why the hell are we going to bring in fresh legs or kids from high school when we can go to the portal and go grab somebody who's already been in it for 2 years or a year or even 3, 4, 5 years? Carson back. Somebody like that, it's making it hard to be able to want to pursue, going, even wanting to grab, or like try to grab a scholarship. And then on the other side of that, not out of the corporate side, just the player side alone, I remember, I think his name is Will Seaton, former Colorado offensive lineman or defensive lineman. Bro wanted like $10 million. You haven't even touched an NFL freaking field. I mean, maybe you have, but it wasn't for an actual NFL team, and you're requesting this amount of money. And the thing that messes up the whole draft and everything, and then also college football as a whole, it's not just college football, it's also other college sports, is the fact that you got guys staying 6, 7, 8. There was a guy last year, a 9-year college senior, you know, and sure, you have eligibility, redshirting, you got injuries, stuff like that, that affects it. But it's just like a lot of these guys are like, dude, I'm gonna try to make as much money as I can while I'm in college. Because like, why the hell am I gonna risk going being a really late round pick, getting so much less than I am right now? If I can make $10 million off this one sponsor deal or off this school for this year, why am I gonna take a chance to go to the league and make a fraction of that, you know? So that's where it's affecting. And like I said, for a lot of college sports too, you like everybody knows about like the guy that's the G League dropout. That's at I think it's at Mississippi State. The deal was already in the league. He's in the G League, but he was already in the league. He was already at that level. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go back down. It's an unfair advantage. It's a seriously unfair advantage, you know? And in terms of what makes it more exciting, I think you guys already might have talked about it while I was gone, but rivalries. Yes, I know rivalries still exist in the NFL, but like dudes are so much more friendly nowadays. I mean, minus the Cowboys and Eagles, but that's always going to be a thing.
But if we're talking rivalries, NFL has nothing close or even remotely close to like these iconic college football rivalries. Texas OU, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. All these teams, all these iconic rivalries. That exist. That's just a few. That exist. That I don't think NFL could touch. And when these teams come together, like shit, I'm just saying Texas teams, but a Red River Rivalry, they have a whole separate stadium where they purposely meet in the middle, between the two schools to have this face off. So it's like shit like that. Obviously, with logistics and everything in NFL, it can't happen. But when these two teams come together and they know the rivals, they don't fuck around. They don't play around. They're not hee ha ha and dap you up. No, no. Like for example, um, flag stabbing. On the logo, or you got shit like the rivalry between Texas and A&M. Bevo's literal shit bucket is A&M. It's an A&M bucket that they shovel shit in. So it's stuff like that. Um, it's things like that. Or when we beat OU, uh, they'll shoot the cannon through the OU jersey. It's like these things run deep that NFL can't capture. I know you guys went to Arrowhead and everything, but like I said, it's I think Caleb talked about this earlier. It really does depend on the environment because like you said, if you compare Arrowhead to like Texas State Stadium, obviously Arrowhead's gonna win, but it also depends on like these iconic stadiums all over the U.S. that exist, and also just the iconic environments, the traditions that happen. NFL has those too. You got Bills Mafia, you got the Cheeseheads, you got all these different fan bases. When it comes to college football, man, it's just something about it. It's just like get your blood boiling and your skin tingling and everything in between. It just makes me so excited. Plus, when you're watching games, especially in like third, fourth quarter, or even at the beginning of the game, game is on the line. Shit always happens. When Carson threw that pick at the end, I thought, oh my gosh, he's gonna score. It's gonna be amazing. The Cinderella story is gonna be over for Indiana. And what did he do? He threw a pick. And shit like that was like, oh my gosh, you know. So yeah, that's my personal take. I can keep going on and on, but just for timing purposes, yeah, that's my take.
What do you think, Chacho?
Yeah, I think nothing compares to I think some good college rivalries, but there's like you said, some good NFL rivalries. You said the Eagles and the Cowboys is one up there. The players are always spitting on each other or doing whatever. But also, the Raiders always just hate everyone in the AFC West, and their rivalry is pretty good. The Broncos, they try to tear off Bronco players' heads. They try to the Chargers out of the playoffs a couple years ago. Always battling with the Chiefs, arguing with the Chiefs. I think they have some pretty good rivalries as well in the NFL, but yeah, college just doesn't compare, especially with the trophies and stuff like that.
I think I do give rivalries probably to college, but maybe it's kind of more of the factor of the NFL. We play our rivals twice a year compared to
Yeah,
college. It's a one time, so there is no like, hey, if we
unless
lose,
they make it to the playoffs, because Texas did
unless
play A&M twice.
yeah,
Oh
unless
no,
it's
we played them
playoff.
once. Yeah, but usually when it comes to the playoffs, there's a chance. But yeah,
Yeah, but there's a chance, but it's more likely just like one time. It's already hard enough just to get in to the college national playoffs because the committee and all that. They did have the 12 man. They're already talking about it. They were thinking about extending it to
16.
16, and it's just super hard. You have the whole conference things, like, winning your conference gives you a boost to get in there. And then it also depends on where you're getting ranked. So it's more likely that you're going to see these guys one time. You may see them twice, but it's more likely you're going to see them once. And
Mhm.
NFL's guaranteed you're going to see them twice. So you know that if you lose one, you're like, hey, we can bounce back, and maybe next time we play them, you guys come to our place. We're in our stadium. But college it's one and done, bro.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree on that, especially like this year for the Seahawks. Playing Rams and the 49ers 3 times, especially 2 of them in the playoffs. Like, it's like, even though like I knew Seattle was going to dominate the Niners whenever we went to San Francisco, I was also kind of nervous because it's like, man, like we're playing them at home, it's different. But then and then we win, but then we play them. And then the Rams, dude, that one was scary when we played them at home in the NFC Championship. It's like, man, like I'm confident in the team, but at the same time, I'm like, man, dude, like there's no other team that's gonna know our team better than the Rams, who we played twice. So I think going back, yeah, but Caleb said like that knowing that you're gonna play your team twice, it's a guaranteed 50-50 shot. Like no matter, I mean, unless it's like Seattle versus Cardinals or Chiefs versus the Raiders in this like in these time of days, but it's like, but when you have those like like the Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks, and then you have the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Broncos, and you got the Lions, Packers, and Bears now, which was a whole nother story. Like I think it's just I think it's crazy. And we're at college. I think what's different in college is just so many teams. Like there's so many teams, and it's like I was saying this when you were gone, Marcus. It's like I'm not a deep. I mean, I know like for you, you're a deep-rooted Texas fan, but for college, I was like, bro, I can say I'm going for Tech, and then the next day I'm wearing a Oregon hoodie, and then the next day I could be wearing a Alabama t-shirt. But like NFL, bro, like you'll never see me in a 49ers shirt. Like I have a cousin who's a 49ers fan. I just barely met the dude. I didn't even shake that dude's hand whenever they were playing them at the 49ers stadium. He's like, bro, I'm not even gonna congratulate you guys on going to the Super Bowl. He's like, I'm not even gonna watch it. I'm not cheering for you guys. I actually hope y'all lose. Like, I think, I mean, he's an older head, so of course it's deeper. But like, I think that's what's for me, anyways, is that you'll never catch me in another NFL shirt, jersey, flag, whatever, like Seattle. But college, I have a tech shirt, I have an Oregon hoodie, I have an LSU shirt. Like, who's your favorite team? Shit, I don't know, whoever's playing that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, me personally, like Caleb knows this. We've had back and forth on this. I bleed burnt orange till the day I die. Yes, I go to Texas State, but that's only because it's cheaper, and that was my one-way ticket to come here. But besides that, I bleed burnt orange till the day I die. Fuck, if I already said this before, so I'm gonna kind of forget the Raiders. All right, forget the Aggies. Forget them all right? And we already know who runs Texas. It's been this way for the last few years, all right? Caleb can't even deny that except for the one time they barely beat us. But, hey, we've been running Texas, and they know it. Shit, they can't even beat us in basketball, all right? Or hockey. Like, we can't even – or women's softball, baseball, just about any sport already. We're that. But like you said, you'll never catch me in just because, I root for Texas doesn't mean I root for any other schools. I'm a Longhorns fan to the day I die. You'll never catch me in OU, any other teams. I'm good. Now, on the contrary, even though I'm a Vikings fan and I'm not big on NFL, I might grab you a Fernando Mendoza jersey from the Raiders. I think that's pretty cool. But that's just because I don't really care about NFL. But yeah, like you said, it's very deep rooted. Plus the fights that people get into. I want to go to the Red River Rivalry just to beat the shit out of an Oklahoma fan after we whoop their asses. And after they keep putting the horns down, that aggravates the shit out of me. But as we transition to our last and final segment, Formula One. Now, the boys don't know too much about it, so I'm going to let Lucas kind of give the dumbed down version without calling them dumb. Just basically, they kind of know what it is, but kind of talk them through it a little bit, Luke.
Yeah, Formula One, man, the fastest car racing, most adrenaline, most G-forces ever to pull in a human. More G's than a rocket ship, like on 4 wheels, barely scraping off the ground, very wide open visibility with a thing right down the middle. Like
the halo.
You're flying 200 plus miles per hour, braking at, gosh, you go from 200 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour in less than a second. It's intense, man. It's awesome. I think it's better than NASCAR. I think it's better than, and I know NASCAR is very American. I know NASCAR is like, but I think
Formula One is so worldwide.
Cool. Yeah, Formula One's awesome, man. The cars, they're just gorgeous cars. all the drivers. You have the sexiest humans ever driving those cars. And it's awesome, man. And it's such a young sport, man. You got guys who are 17-year-olds racing against 30, 50-year-olds, and just the different, like, all the different cultures it brings. Like, you got people from Spain, you got people from the UK, people from Brazil. Like, it's just it's like soccer race cars, basically, just where you got so much unity and such a very like broad spectrum of culture. And so it's super awesome. I'm a deep fan of F1. I know my thing's blurry, but I got a big old massive Lego set over there, and I got like F1 stuff. So super awesome. This was like actually my first season watching every single race. The only downside is like half the races are at freaking 2 o'clock in the morning. Only downside. But it's awesome. You get the adrenaline whenever you see an overtake, the straightaways. Unfortunately, you got DRS that's changing and stuff. But it's awesome. It's a very fun sport. Encourage people to get into it, watch it. Root for the underdogs, man. Root for the underdogs in Formula One. Of course, you got your Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, who I hate his guts. Oscar Piastri, I love that guy. You got Hulkenberg, so
He's been
it's an
there
awesome
forever.
sport. It's an awesome sport.
So yeah, and just to kind of touch base on what Luke said, what a lot of people like how a lot of like fans, especially within the past 5 years or so, how they've gotten into Formula One is through Netflix's docuseries called Drive to Survive. So basically takes an entire season and kind of dumbs it down for the general population to understand the cars, what goes on with the cars, what goes on throughout the season, to kind of dive into the drama because the general population loves drama. But to understand rivalries, shit like that happens, or certain narratives of like who's going to win the championship, because the championship in this sport is very different from like your standard NFL sport, because there's the drivers championship and the constructors. The drivers championship, obviously, the driver with the most points at the end of the season wins the drivers championship, and the constructor is the team with the most points. The constructor is like, so you know how teams have salary caps, right? In the NFL. So the constructor is like, out of this big old pot of money from Formula One, whoever wins the constructors gets not only the constructors championship, but also they get this big old pot of money. And when they hit the off season, they have all these extra resources to put towards the next season of car. Sometimes that doesn't always work. It's like getting a first round pick and they end up being a dud. So it's kind of like that too. And big news in Formula One. First and foremost, we're heading into a brand new generation of car. The car is a lot smaller. Also, their DRS, it's a drag reduction system, so meaning the wing in the back goes like this when you hit a button, but it's limited on where they can use it. And so we're getting a brand new car and also a brand new version of DRS, which the front wing opens up and the back wing at the same time. It's like the coolest thing ever. And I think it's going to make races a lot more exciting. And also we have a brand new team that is joining Formula One, Cadillac. Did y'all know about this? Did y'all see the Super Bowl commercial? No? So Formula One for a long time has had like the same amount of teams because one, it's really hard to get into, plus it's stupidly expensive. One car is like $20 million. And think about all the idiotic drivers who come in and out of the sport who just crash them. It's really hard. So it takes a really big manufacturer like Cadillac, who's been racing with their endurance cars for a while, to come in. And this is really good marketing wise and also business wise, because there's only been one American team and only one American driver, and neither have done well. So bringing Cadillac in really helps out America as a whole. And I think that's really cool. Plus the livery, look, what do you think of the half white, half black?
It was kind of basic, but it's kind of slick. I mean, Formula cars are kind of like their design has a lot of history to them. So I think when you bring a new team like them, I think you got to think of this is going to be the car that's going to start a new generation for a long time. So I think it's a simple design. I think it's nice. I think it's just very laid back, knowing that we're not going to come in all flashy and all try to look like all bright pink or green. Like I think they kept it simple for knowing that hey, this is our first year. We're just gonna let the car be chill and hopefully let the drivers do the talking. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of feedback from the drivers lately. Today was the very first testing day that we had for Formula One. Did have one last week, but this was like real testing. A lot of laps were gone in. Red Bull looked the fastest today, but with testing days, you don't get the true times because everybody's trying to do different things with the aerodynamic paint or the new kits that come on, or different certain parts that are going on, or even the trays where they track how air goes to the cars. So overall, I mean, overall driver reactions, a lot of them say that it's a lot more fun to drive. It's also a smaller car, so it's easier. It's a lot more nimble, easier to take around the corners. But at the same time, it's a new car, and we all saw what happened the last time we got a new car and a new generation with also new rules. Um, so it's going to be very interesting to watch and see how everything goes. As a Ferrari fan, former Mercedes fan, but I'm more so a Lewis Hamilton fan. So wherever he goes, I'm going to support. Okay. But as a Ferrari fan, I think Ferrari is looking really good. I think they've kind of figured it out. Especially, I think they're going to be kind of sneaking up. And Red Bull, they're always going to be strong. Max Verstappen lost by 1 point last year, and obviously, McLaren they won the constructors and the drivers, so they're already doing really good. They already have all the resources to start working on this car before everybody else. And that's one of the things that the constructors gives you is like if you win the constructors, you can start working on the car already. Everybody else has to kind of wait a little bit, you know. Um, like I said, it's like the first round pick. You get the first thing, you get the first pick, and everybody else kind of has to feed off the rest of it. Um, and Luke, who do you think your front runners are? Do you think it's going to be the same big three with Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren? Do you think Ferrari could be able to sneak in there? Shit, Audi was looking fast today, but then again, it's just testing. We don't know.
I think one of the I think they're gonna bring us. I think Audi's gonna bring a stunner to the team to the group. I think of course I think you're gonna have your Red Bull, McLaren. Ferrari, I mean, I really hope they do come up. It's kind of tough seeing them be so bad, because they have the drivers. It was sad seeing the way Hamilton, just looks so miserable driving there. Like
Yeah,
so hopefully
last
he
year
gets his joy back.
especially. Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully he gets his joy back driving the new car. Leclerc, I hope he changes his mind. I mean, it sucks seeing such a dominant team like Ferrari have such drivers who have to straight up say like, you have the meme of Leclerc saying like, if I ever die in a car, it's not going to be this one because it's not fast. Like,
yeah,
you hope stuff changes. I think, but I still think you do have your top runners. I think you Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes. I think they're still your front runners. I think most definitely Red Bull and McLaren, especially McLaren getting that extra money this year. But I think regardless, it's always been about the driver, and I think Red Bull still has the best driver. Uh, Hamilton's
can't
good. Don't get
beat
me
it.
wrong, I love the guy, but man, Max is just he's a Max is like your Max Verstappen is like your Patrick Mahomes in F1 in all honesty, and Lewis Hamilton is like your Aaron Rodgers
Tom
as of
Brady.
right now,
Tom Brady.
slowly. I would say right now
They
like your
have the
Aaron
same
Rodgers because
number
he's
of
slowly
championships,
coming
by the
down.
way. They have the
But when
same
he was
number
in
of
his prime, he was
championships.
like the Tom Brady of F1 drivers. Um, and then I'm trying to like relate it best to football. That way y'all can like picture it a little bit better. But it's exciting. Like I said, new cars, anything can happen. Um, Drivers are gonna either hate it or love it. As of right now, most of them do love it. But
Yeah.
we'll see when it gets to the track. And is it opening in Australia again?
Let me see. Yeah,
I don't remember where.
touching back onto what you said about like how Ferrari, like how Lewis and Charles kind of react to the car. Both of them after testing, they both said that the car is obviously it's so much easier to drive than the last generation, and Lewis especially said that like you can even tell he was so much more happier to drive this car especially the last one, because the last one they're so big. They weighed more, but also they're damn near they're scraped the ground every chance they get because of all the buoyancy that they struggle with this last generation of car. I am excited to see how these cars go around Monaco. Monaco, if you think about it like this, Monaco was like the most iconic racing sport or racing track because it's a street circuit. So I don't know how you would compare that to like NFL terms or anything, but it's like when you play at Green Bay Stadium, you know how iconic Green Bay Stadium is, or even the Bears old stadium. That's how racing at Monaco is. You know, if you win Monaco, you'll be go down in history because Monaco, if you're in first place, you're most likely going to win the race. There's no overtaking. There's none of that. So I'm excited to see how these cars will go around Monaco and all these other tracks. You know, especially because they're going to be faster. Shoot, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Let me see. Let me see. 6. Yeah, I'm so excited. March 7th. Yeah, in Australia.
Australia.
And it's at 10. So I'm definitely gonna be tuning in. I'm definitely
Yeah.
gonna be tuning in. In Australia, the last couple of years have been really good. I remember 2 years ago, it was a rain race. Dude, gosh, that shit was fire. So like the rain races are similar like rain in football games. Like it's some of the best games to watch in similar Formula One. There's different strategies that go on and things like that. So there's so much going on. And moving on, as we come to a close for this episode, um, we're going to be kind of we have Christian coming in, so kind of going to touch base on as NFL storylines come in. College football, there's nothing really going on. Everybody's getting back in the lab. Um, World Cup is coming up. Um, spring ball for MLB's also coming up too. There's a lot of shit that's going on, and we're all really excited to talk about it. So, boys, you have any last minute comments or anything before we call it a day?
I was looking
Just go
forward.
USA in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just moving forward, me and Tomas will be, we said primarily football. We will talk other things. We're excited. We'll keep everyone updated throughout the offseason of the NFL, whatever we hear and everything. And upcoming, we'd like to do a mock draft together,
Yeah.
get our projections,
Yeah.
what we're going to look into, get who's going to go where.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Each month.
Well, Tomas,
And man, I'm just really excited to be, part of this journey and to help all of us grow, of course.
yeah. Yeah, I think y'all are gonna really like Alvin. He's a very interesting human being in terms of like how much he cares about the game and how much he cares about this. You know, like I said, he can't be here for this part of the year, but once you guys get to meet him, once you guys get to actually sit and talk with him, this man knows ball. You know, I would argue he's up there with you, Tomas, because like this mother lover can name the whole Vikings team like like first and last name, every coach, everybody in the upstairs office. Like, I'm just like, I can probably name 2 players right now because like I don't care enough to, but like that's how much he cares about ball. And so I'm really excited, especially we got Christian coming on next week too. So for next week, Christian and Lucas are going to be business partners, but working together, on that too. So I'm really excited of what we got going on next week. Like I said, we're going to touch on a little bit of everything next episode. So until then, by the time this is posted, it'll probably be tomorrow, which is Thursday. And yeah, I'm really excited. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
See
Peace.
you. Go Chiefs.
There, boys. Have a good night.